just his name. I wanted to work with Sean Ellis, and you, as an actor, I guess you have a quiet little list in your back pocket of people that one day you may be lucky enough to get to work with. And I've worked with some, real crackerjacks in my time, and Sean was on that list, and so from that point of view, a total privilege to work with Sean.
Thanks so much for joining me. This is Alistair Petrie, who plays Seamus in The Curse, which is coming to theaters on February 18th, 2022. It is an atmospheric horror film that it is so well done. Like, the buildup is so dreadful. And thank you so much for joining me.
Pleasure. Nice to be here.
Of course. So I guess the first question I kind of always ask is, how did you get involved in this film? Did you just, want to go back to simpler times, simpler horror times? Like,
simpler times, living in a massive house in the countryside. I got an email. My agent sent through an email. Attached was a script, and and that obviously happens in my profession. And it had a little cover note on it saying, "Oh, this is a film. And it's going to be written, or has been written, and is to be directed by Sean Ellis." And that name just leapt off the page, not least because I'd seen his film Metro Manila that he made in, I guess, the early 2010s, I think. And I had seen it on spec. I had no idea what I was watching. I was walking down a street in London, and the cinema was showing it, and I had some time to kill. And I thought, great, it's one of those wonderful opportunities. I can go and watch a movie I know nothing about, and just immerse myself in it. So I'd never seen a trailer, anything about it. And I absolutely loved it. And I was completely bemused and confused by the fact that it was a brilliant heist story told in the Philippines, in the Filipino language, yet it had been directed by this Brit guy called Sean Ellis, which I found fascinating. So when the script arrived for this movie on my desk, and it was written and to be directed by Sean Ellis, the whole Metro Manila sort of experience came flooding back, and he basically had me at that. Just his name. I wanted to work with Sean Ellis, and you, as an actor, I guess you have a quiet little list in your back pocket of people that one day you may be lucky enough to get to work with. And I've worked with some, real crackerjacks in my time, and Sean was on that list, and so from that point of view, a total privilege to work with Sean.
I love the parallel there. I mean, I imagine you just saw the script, saw who wrote it, and was like, you know what, I'm in. I don't even need to see the script. I'm going to go in blind. I'll just show up. You show up on set in honestly, like a Hawaii.
David, yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer. And when that happens, you think, maybe this is just one of those moments where you just jump in with both boots and then you figure the rest out. Yeah. Thankfully, I'm a kind of a quiet sort of horror genre fan. I love the effect that horror can have on an audience, and the story that is contained within the horror genre, and why they're so successful, and all of those things. So it was a happy yes, it really was. And to get to work with Kelly and Boyd, obviously, is it just the cake was already delicious, but then you start putting on the icing and the cherries and everything else, and then candles, and I'm in.
Yeah, this is the best meal I've ever had. It's perfect.
Apologies about the weird metaphor.
And so I was going to ask about that. Well, the big draw for me was Kelly Reilly, because everything she does, she's just so good. I don't know how she does it. Like, it doesn't matter what the film is. She is just so phenomenal. What was it like working with her? It sounds like it was a pleasure, but what was it like working with her?
Completely. I've admired Kelly for years and years and years. She's one of the very best. I think she is, in terms of her performance, she's one of the very best of us. I mean, her performance in Flight, amongst all the other work that I've seen of hers, she should have walked away with every award under the sun. But it's not something she seeks out. She's a phenomenal, and of course it was an intimate, in a way. It's not a big cast. I mean, sort of led by Boyd, Kelly, and myself, but equally. So the core cast is pretty small, and Roxane, Duran, and a few others. But so you have a sort of a fast intimacy when you're working, and we were working in a remote part of France in an old house. We're all sort of staying together in a hotel, and so. It was a privilege to get to know Kelly, and again, she's an actor that I'd always wanted to work with and hoped that I one day would, and my God, she didn't disappoint, because she really is extraordinary, and I'm just loving her wonderful work in Yellowstone as well. So she is something very special indeed.
This just is like, the best story. It just keeps getting better and better. You mentioned the small cast. One thing I'm always fascinated by is when you have kids or young adults in a horror movie that play kind of meaningful horror roles. What was it like working with them? Did they get pretty involved in some of the horror aspects of this? What was it like working with them?
No, you're right. It's a very good point. I mean, they have sort of. I think they're just sort of. There's a sort of a joy. I'm not cynical about the work I do, and I've been doing this for quite a long time. I refuse to be sort of cynical about the processes of filmmaking. You know, filmmaking takes time. You have to wait around. All of those things. And I don't care if my porridge in the morning is cold. It's just the way of things because everyone is doing their best to collaborate to tell the story. I'm not a precious actor at all. But what's equally so lovely is when you have sort of the younger actors arriving on set. Some of them have actually done more films than I have, but they still have a kind of a childlike wonder about it, the processes, and I always look to retain that in my kind of working life as well. It's still a magic process and a privilege as well to be you know, it's nuts. I mean, working on films is an extraordinary privilege, and it's really thrilling and exciting, and yeah, there's practical elements to it, but I think it's the childlike nature which I love seeing through their eyes. And yeah, there are certain things demanded of them that are like, blimey. You know, certainly within the horror genre, which can be pretty grim. But yeah, there's so many happy systems in place to make sure that they don't get too.
Don't look over there. Look over
but
this thing.
Also, it was a very happy working experience too. So you know, there's a lot of levity in amongst all the grimness.
And I love that they could, you know, get a horror experience and then also get a history lesson too. So it works out for everyone.
Totally, everyone wins.
So I know we have a very limited time, so I'd like to switch. I call it the lightning round. They're just lightweight questions about the film.
Oh, great.
Your
Okay,
experiences
cool.
match. First question: have you ever been hunting?
Hunting? Not real animals, but I've shot clay pigeons. Is that hunting? Not really. I've never
Not
been
really,
hunting.
but you know, we'll go with it. That takes skill. What is the strangest thing you've ever dug up?
Dug up?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that's a good question. I think, not strangest, but one of the most moving things of late, I found an old photograph of my father who passed about 18 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And it was a team photograph that I found buried in a cupboard at my father's apartment in London, and I found an old photograph that I'd never seen before of my father. So I kind of dug that up, and it was that was just amazing. There you go.
That's a great answer. Do you have any like gold or like silver teeth?
I do not have any gold or silver teeth. I used to have those, mercury fillings.
Yeah.
And they were bad because apparently they make you ill. So I had those removed and then had sort of white enamel ones put in. So not quite, but I did briefly.
And you seem to turn out fine. The last question is: do you have any silver on you? Or do you have any silver that you like treasure?
No, silver that I treasure. No, but I do on my wedding ring. I have it's admittedly it's gold, but it's 3 different types of gold. So it's rose, yellow, and white gold, and that's my wedding ring.
I love that.
It's not quite silver, but you know, precious metal.
Mine's white gold, so you know
nice.
It could be silverish, but yeah. No, I love the intricacy of that. That's a beautiful ring.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy man. So this is Alistair Petrie. He plays Seamus in The Curse, which is coming out on February 18, 2022 in theaters. Just, you know, to cap off your lovely romantic Valentine's Day start of the week, you can have a nice horror atmospheric end of the week. So thank you so much for your time.
Win-win. Bookending a heck of a week.
Exactly. That's eventful. Awesome. Thank you so much.
David, pleasure to see you. Take care.
Pleasure. Take care.